In this first video, we'll start the process by looking at the key components and inlet gas pressure. In the two remaining videos, we will cover how to make the maximum and minimum heating adjustments. Before we go over the adjustment procedures of the modulating furnace gas valve, let's review the key parts of the furnace. The gas valve and the furnace control board will be the two components we will have to check and adjust. Let's review the gas valve parts that we're concerned with: the on-off switch, the inlet pressure tap, the outlet pressure tap, and under the protective cap, the adjustment screw. On the furnace control board, there are two sets of switch blocks that we need to inspect. The dip switch block SW1 is the largest switch block on the board with 8 dip switches. The circuit board has a number 1 showing the switch 1 location. The board also has the word on to indicate the position of the switch. Verify that switch block 1, switches 1, 2, and 6 are initially in the off position. Next, locate SW4. SW4 is a switch block with 3 switches located to the right of SW1. Verify that SW4 switches 1 and 2 are initially in the off position. All of the other dip switches can remain as they are. Before adjusting the modulating furnace manifold pressure, you'll need to check the inlet gas pressure. This check needs to be done with the furnace operating in maximum heat. The inlet gas pressure for a natural gas furnace application needs to stay between a minimum of 4.5 inches of water column and a maximum of 13.6 inches of water column. For an LP furnace application, those pressures should be between a minimum pressure of 12 inches water column and a maximum pressure of 13.6 inches of water column. If the inlet pressure is too low, you may not be able to adjust the manifold pressure to obtain the proper input rate. Use the following steps to check the inlet gas pressure. Turn off the furnace gas supply and power. Remove the 1/8 inch NPT plug from the inlet pressure tap on the gas valve and replace it with a brass tube barb fitting. Connect the manometer tube to the inlet barb fitting on the gas valve. Now, turn on the gas supply to the furnace and turn on the power supply. Next, jump R to WW1 and W2 at the furnace control board. This will create a call for ignition of the furnace in maximum heat. As the burners light, watch the manometer reading to confirm that the gas pressure stays between 4.5 inches of water column and 13.6 inches of water column. If the inlet pressure doesn't stay within that range, additional steps will need to be taken to bring the pressure back into the proper range. Remove jumper wires at the furnace control board that were used to initiate the call for heat. Wait until the blower cycles off and then turn off the power to the furnace. This is to assure the furnace limit switch doesn't trip due to a hot heat exchanger. Turn the gas supply manual shutoff valve to the off position. Remove the manometer tube and inlet pressure tap from the gas valve. And finally, apply a small amount of thread sealant to the inlet plug and reinstall it in the gas valve. Now, you are ready to set the modulating furnace manifold pressure, which needs to be set at 2 operating points. For a natural gas furnace, the maximum heat manifold pressure should be set between 3.2 and 3.8 inches of water column. For an LP furnace, the maximum heat pressure should be between 12 and 13.6 inches of water column. Use the following steps to first check, then adjust the maximum heat manifold pressure. Make sure the gas supply and power is turned off to the furnace. Remove the 1/8 inch NPT plug from the outlet pressure tap on the gas valve and replace it with a brass tube barb fitting. Connect the manometer tube to the barb fitting on the gas valve. Turn on the gas supply to the furnace, then turn on the power supply to the furnace. Next, jump R to WW1 and W2 at the furnace control board terminals. This will create a call for ignition of the furnace in maximum heat. After the main burners ignite and the blower starts, confirm maximum heat manifold pressure is correct, based on the manifold pressure tables in the installation instructions. If the manifold pressure is incorrect, it needs to be adjusted. Remove the white dust cap on the gas valve to gain access to the adjustment screw to adjust the maximum heat manifold pressure. Insert a small screwdriver and slowly turn the adjustment screw counterclockwise to decrease manifold pressure or clockwise to increase the manifold pressure. Turn the adjustment screw no faster than 1 click per second until you obtain the required manifold pressure. It may take several clicks before you see any movement on your manometer. Remember, if the screw is turned too quickly, the valve may stop responding. If this happens, wait a few moments for the valve to catch up. You can terminate the call by removing the jumper wire and restarting the procedure by reinitiating the call for heat. This will reset the valve and allow for additional adjustment. Once you have adjusted the maximum heat manifold pressure, the main burner flame should look clear blue, almost transparent. After adjusting the maximum heat manifold pressure, remove the jumpers across the thermostat connections to terminate the call for heat. Wait for the blower off delay sequence to turn off the blower motor before you cycle off the supply power to the furnace. Now we'll show you how to make the minimum heat manifold pressure adjustments. Turn SW1 switch 2 to on and SW4 switch 2 to off. Toggling these two dip switches will lock the furnace into minimum heat operation. Jump R to WW1 at the furnace control board terminals. This will create a call for ignition in minimum heat. After the main burners ignite and the blower starts, confirm minimum heat manifold pressure is correct by referencing the manometer and the reference tables in the installation instructions. If the minimum heat manifold pressure is not correct, insert a small screwdriver and slowly turn the same adjusting screw that you use to adjust the maximum heat setting. Turn the set screw counterclockwise to decrease manifold pressure or clockwise to increase manifold pressure. As we mentioned in the maximum heat video, remember to turn the adjustment screw no more than 1 click per second until you obtain the required manifold pressure. Again, it may take several clicks before you see any movement on your manometer. After adjustment of the minimum heat manifold pressure is complete, as an assurance of proper adjustment and operation, add a jumper from R to W2 to force the furnace back into maximum heat operation. Assure the maximum heat manifold pressure setting is correct and has not changed from its previous setting. Remove the jumpers across the thermostat connections to terminate the call for heat. Wait for the blower off delay sequence to turn off the blower motor, then turn off the supply power to the furnace. Toggle dip switch 2 SW1 to the off position. Turn the gas supply manual shutoff valve to the off position. Now, remove the manometer tube and tube barb fitting from the outlet pressure tap of the gas valve. Apply a small amount of thread sealant to the plug and reinstall it in the gas valve. Reinstall the cap over the adjustment screw on top of the gas valve. Performing the modulating furnace gas valve adjustments in these videos will help your customer's system deliver the highest levels of comfort, energy efficiency, and reliability.